Hello again, and welcome back, all my favorite coder cats and coder kittens. Good to have you back again for another week where I'm here, Becca, your coder kitty, often going by Nightcat or Nightcat's Meow most places online, occasionally gamer self in some gaming circles. Here to talk to you another week about Linden scripting language. Actually, though, before I get onto that, a bit of an update. Those of you who recall, I actually kind of dropped off for a couple weeks because of losing my cat. Well, because of some people that I know that their housemates are heading back to Florida and weren't sure that their nice little round black and white cat could make the trip, I once again have a cat in my house, and she is such a nuzzly love bug. I will include some pictures when I'm editing this video, so keep an eye out. I will introduce you all to my new cat, Lily. But other than that, I'm going to pick up where we left off with the Scavenger HUD, and I believe I had to show you how to make sure that it knows if you have collected all of the items and how to give over a location to go to pick up the actual prize. The person that I built this for when they contacted me directly in World because they needed it faster than I'd get to a tutorial on it, they didn't mind just having a landmark in there, so I may show that version first, but I also intend to show you how to have the HUD give the necessary teleport command or map teleport command directly to the user. I actually used that also on part of my sim design here, which I'm going to be rebuilding since I've been having fun playing around with a few things. So that'll all make for some interesting stuff. But without further ado, the easiest way to make sure that you have, in fact, checked every one of these items is at the end of all of this, have which is one reason not to have a return on these, because you want to run an extra thing at the end, if item 1, if you don't have an equals equals and something after it, if you just have the variable, it is assumed that means if that is true. 2 ampersands means and item 2, and item 3, and item 4, item 5, item 6, Now, the simpler way to approach this, the way that I did it for the others, is just simply use a give inventory. But to do that, it has to know what inventory item to give. So the way you would handle that is with a get inventory name. So we see right here the specific variables involved. It returns a string, as it should. And you have an integer for type and an integer for number. Like any list in SL, the first item is 0, and then it goes up from there. So we're going to go ahead and copy this into our code here. Get inventory name. So we would take the type, which is a landmark. Control C. And an integer number, 0. That would simply take, you have one landmark placed inside the HUD, it will automatically give that single landmark. Now, if you're going to do something like that, it is a good idea to make sure that you in fact only have one. So, on state entry, inventory, check. And the easy way to check if you have the right amount is get inventory number, which will return an integer. And the only thing you have to plug into that is type. That'll do. That gets me what I need. A lot of times copy and pasting is just so much easier because you don't have to worry about spelling. And then we check if get inventory type is greater than 1, owner say you have too many landmarks in the item. Now, the other thing you're going to want to do is have it automatically update itself and restart to check that inventory amount anytime that you add something to it. So for that, you want changed. This detects any change in the object. This is one we definitely want to have the wiki app since it's got some quirks to how it works. It's actually not a command, but a handler. A handler is different from a command. A command is triggered by some action in the code. A handler is triggered by something that happens externally, like touch is for clicking on it, or change is for an alteration, or collision is when something impacts it. And it gives an example right here of exactly what we need. If change, n changed inventory. That is exactly what we need right here. So we'll just drop that in. But instead of giving an owner say for the inventory changed, we're going to use ll reset script. That's a very simple one. It doesn't need any arguments. It just simply starts the script over, which will cause it to run the state entry, which activates the listen that picks up all of the feedback from all of the scavenger hunt items and runs your inventory check. But now at that point, this will simply give the landmark to them. If you want to instead have it do the teleport for you, which I think is somewhat more secure. All right, here we are. This glowy space was just meant to be a transition point for this. This is an example of the kind of code you need to use. A map destination. It was set to go off either on collision or touch start. And it would teleport you to Corinthian Garden, which is actually the name for this sim, the actual Linden recognized name for it. And then you get two sets of coordinates. One is where you're going to land, and one has to do with orientation, so you can be set to be facing a particular direction. And I believe the spatial coordinates was the first one. Map destination. Finally came through there. Vector position, vector look at. Yes, I remembered it correctly that the first number is where you actually arrive at. So that's the more important of the two. So an easy way to set that up to make sure you get all of that data is you go to where you want to go, and under the Covenant tab, you'll have the estate name, which you can also the region name down here. That will give you an easy way to look that up if you don't want to, if you get confused by just look at the top of the screen. Also a more convenient way to double check your spelling. And then you simply create an object with get position. If you wanted to be a little more complicated about how to set that up, you could, where, vector land, vector look. Now, I do not remember off the top of my head how to get the sim name with code, so I'm going to look that up real quick. There it is, get region name. I knew there was a way, I just hadn't had to use it in a while. Where equals get region name. Integer step equals 0. What we'd add this in is just a simple way of knowing which of the steps we're going to need we're on. Touch start. Integer click. Then if step equals 0, step equals 1, land equals get position, return. Else if step equals 1, look equals get position, then owner say, as I go through and utilize one of my best tricks, one of my favorite tricks, is code that writes code for you. There is actually a way to get a quotation mark in there that you can use. I've used it in other places. I have to look back up what that was real quick. All right, we are back. I had to look up exactly how to achieve that, which is a backslash, double apostrophe, Then we'll close that. Plus, we're replacing the original Corinthian garden from the sample I copied with where plus the actual quotation mark to start the code, backslash, 2 apostrophes. So we've now handled the quotation mark, comma, quotation mark, since we're ending that chunk of string. We're replacing this with land, as in where are you going to land? And since that's a vector, we're casting it as a string, plus quotation mark, close your quotation mark, plus, again, casting as a string, look, plus, quotation mark, close quotation mark. That should successfully give us the specific line of code we need. In fact, we're going to add a couple more things to it. We're going to add owner say, actually, let's make that a little bit higher. So let's reset this script. This way you don't risk actually getting teleported into the ground. That's an important thing to keep in mind. When you're dealing with something like this, if you put the coordinates physically low, you run the risk of having the avatar potentially clip through the underside instead of going up. So you want to raise this up a little bit. Landing point acquired. Where do you want to be facing? Let's move that this way a little bit. And this gives us the specific code we wanted in order to put in there. Which unfortunately that converted it back to 2 apostrophes. So I was wrong about how to get that, but it's just a simple matter of changing those 2 quotation marks. It's a touchy one, the quotation marks. But since I didn't create a whole bunch of those, we're just going to copy that. Actually, why alter that? We'll just make a new one real quick. Quiet that. Put that there. Map destination. Attach to HUD. And we'll just randomly teleport. For those of you who already know about it, Firestorm, you can just type GTH for go to height. We'll pick 2,000 meters. And go to this is my sort of stray build platform for when I just need a place to make some random thing. But I click that, it gives me a map teleport right back here, just the way we wanted. And that would work even if I were on a different sim. So let me give an example. Let me pick a place that is good to jump to for just a moment. I am not affiliated with Fairlight. Huh. They must have moved. Oh, no, I teleported in my own space. That's what happened. Because it clicked the wall somehow. So, it's just a place where I like to buy cool sci-fi gadgets and the like. But it is definitely not in my sim. See, it's Fairlight as opposed to my sim. Teleport. Teleports you right back. So that is the basics of creating a teleport system and how to link that with the Scavenger HUD. So, a couple of bumps in the road on this video, but overall, I think I got things across to you. And next week, I've got a nice little side project I've been working on that I think you all will love. Basically, it's a way to create a GPS type location tracking for yourself and your target that give you updated positions on a little mini map in the sim in real time. It's a lot of fun. So I hope to see you all back for that. As promised, here are a few pictures of Lily as I get this video wrapped up. Um, these videos show up Tuesdays by noon Eastern Standard Time. I also on Wednesdays post Coder Kitty Decoded, which are very short little videos that just explain the specific syntax and uses of particular commands. Uh, Sometimes clusters of them if they're extremely closely related. It's not meant to be nearly the educational series that Workshop is. What its purpose is just a quick reference if you want to remember how to use a certain command. And happen to like my particular style of explaining things. So, those will both be up. That'll be it for this week. Love you all. Thank you so much for your continued encouragement and support. So that'll be it for this week. Good day, good luck, happy coding. Meow.